So February, time's really flown by. You know, Valentine's Day is come and gone. Probably one of the most romantic times of the year. Did you do anything special for your girlfriend? You know, like box of chocolates, some nice roses, anything like that?
Well, James, flowers and candy are for rookies. I myself made my girlfriend a delicious homemade meal. Why, you ask? Because I'm a hotshot chef.
Valentine's Day. Probably one of the most romantic days of the year. But we should never really limit ourselves to making just one day be the most special. We could probably have special date nights any night. I know you said you whipped something together though for Valentine's Day for your girlfriend. What'd you make?
That's right, James. This Valentine's Day, I put together a nice sirloin steak with some great, sweet, savory mashed potatoes.
I really like meat and potatoes, but kind of seems like a guy's dish. I know if a girl made that for me, I'd love it. The way the guy's heart is through his stomach.
Great point, James. But at the same time, you also want to consider the female perspective on a dish like this. You know, you think about her man in the kitchen, putting all that time, thought, creativity into making something special just for her. And you know, I've heard on more than one occasion that one of the sexiest things to a woman is a man in the kitchen. So, in the end, it really doesn't matter what's on the plate. It's the time and the thought that counts the most.
That's also a very good point. To follow up though, you know, that's all great meat and potatoes, but you have to finish it off with a dessert, right? Did you whip something together?
Great question, James. Of course I did. I put together this decadent, delicious chocolate molten lava cake.
I think I've had one of those before, right? You put the fork in, chocolate pours out.
That's right, the chocolate pours out. It pours out like my love for my girlfriend, symbolizing everything great and beautiful about our relationship together.
That's great, I guess. It's funny, but on Valentine's Day I was single, so I wouldn't know. So it's fine. Back to the cake though. When I had it, came with some strawberries. I love just dipping right into that warm hot chocolate, and it was just like a good old-fashioned chocolate covered strawberry.
Sounds perfect, James. And with that, I'm Chris. This is James. Let's get back in the kitchen and show you how to put together that special dish for that special someone. Here we are again, back in the kitchen, and today I'm going to be handling the steak portion of the meal while James takes over on the sweet potatoes. So here I have two very nice cuts of sirloin steak. You're going to want to make sure you take these out of the refrigerator about 20 to 30 minutes before you're ready to cook them, just so they can get to room temperature so that they properly cook throughout. Also at this time, you're going to want to make sure you liberally season them with some salt and pepper.
Now for the sweet potatoes, they're going to take a little longer to cook, so we'll get started with these guys first. And once we get them mashed down, we're going to add some brown sugar, some cinnamon, and some fresh thyme. To start off with our potatoes, first we want to make sure they're peeled. Now I've already gone ahead and chopped this up in half a couple times, which led me up to this piece here. Now I've already quartered it a little bit, which made it a little easier for you. And I'm going to chop it in half this way. Will help get a little more uniformity to our cubes. The reason we want pieces that are the same size, we'll make sure that they all cook nice and even. Once we get all our cubes taken care of here, see, this is about the size we want right here. This will help us down the line, having a nice small cube. This will make the mashing process a lot easier, and it'll reduce the time we have to wait for the potatoes to finish. Our potatoes are all cubed, so I'm just going to add them to the pot right now. And then for potatoes, you want to make sure you get a pot big enough that'll fit all the ones that you're using, and this will make sure that they can all be nice and covered with water. Right now I'm going to throw them on the stove, and from there they're going to be on there for about 20 minutes or so, over a medium to high heat. And once they begin to boil, we can bring them down a little bit to a simmer, and they'll sit there for about 20 minutes, and you can feel free to check regularly with the fork to see if they become tender. Once they become tender, we're ready to mash.
Now that we've got the potatoes ready and rolling, next stop is the steaks. So they've been sitting out for about a half hour now, right at room temperature, which is great. We've also seasoned them with some salt and pepper, which is going to contribute and create a nice crust, which is going to add a great flavor to the overall steak. So First things first, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. While that's happening, you're going to want to get a nice heavy-duty skillet. I like to use this cast iron skillet like I have here. And you're going to want to preheat the skillet over a high heat. You're going to do that for a couple minutes to make sure that the pan's really hot, because you want to get a nice sear on the steaks. So, once it's all heated up, you're going to see a little bit of smoke that's going to come off the pan, letting you know it's ready to go. So, after that, I like to take a little pat of butter, about a tablespoon or so, drop it right in the pan, get it all around there. This is what the steak's going to cook in. The butter's going to add a great nutty flavor to the steaks, contributing to the overall taste. So once the butter is melted, spread out, when you're going to take your steaks, all nice and seasoned, and just lay it right down in there. You're going to hear that nice sizzle, which means you did a good job and the pan's well heated. So now we got the steaks in the pan. You're going to sear them on each side for 2 to 3 minutes. And then we're going to pop them in the oven. Welcome back. As you can see, we got a nice sear on both sides of our steaks. This is excellent. It's going to add a great flavor to the overall meat. To finish them off, what I like to do, add a little bit of butter on top of both steaks, along with a couple sprigs of rosemary. And this is just going to add an excellent fragrance to the meat and create a nice aroma, cook in and give it some extra flavor. It's going to be really nice. And then lastly, where they're at right now, they're about a solid medium rare. If you like them cooked a little bit more, you can pop them in the oven for 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how well you like them cooked.
All right, steaks in the oven. So now we got a little bit of time to do a little bit more with our potatoes. While the pan's still hot, I'm going to add this pat of butter here. Now I'll get that started to melt. Now I got these potatoes already strained here. Give them a nice shake. Gonna add them back to the pan and start mashing these guys up. From here, you can use a nice potato masher. Get going, start getting that butter mixed in. And we can start adding all of our other goodies. So remember, we got a little bit of cinnamon here. I'm going to add a little bit of nutmeg as well. Round things out. Then a nice heaping spoonful of brown sugar. And that will definitely sweeten up our sweet potatoes. We're going to keep mixing these around a little bit more. And then the last thing we have to do is add a little bit of milk, and that will soften things up for the potatoes. Ooh, and now our steak is almost done. And then after the milk, we just have to add our fresh thyme, which will grind up a little bit to make it a little more fragrance. Now we'll finish these potatoes off, turning our sweet potatoes into nice savory ones. Here we are, almost done. Last thing for my potatoes, I'm just going to cut up this fresh thyme. It's going to release all the aromas.
Excellent. James, the potatoes look great. And as you can tell, we pulled the steaks out of the oven. They're at a perfect medium rare, deep, nice red color to them. And I should note, after you pull them out of the oven, it's very important that you let the steaks rest in a separate plate, loosely tented with some aluminum foil for a solid 5 minutes. This is going to help redistribute all the juices throughout the steak so that once you cut into it, the juices don't run out, and ensure for a nice, juicy bite to the very last one.
Well, Chris, I have to ask. I imagine this looks a lot like your Valentine's Day dinner.
James, I feel like I'm in a time warp. This looks just like it, and I'm dying to see how it tastes.
Well, let's do that. How about I try your steak, try my potatoes, let each other know how it is?
Sounds good.
All right. Here we go. The steak's amazing. The rosemary sprig on top, the aroma is like in my mouth as I chew is amazing. And I have to note the temperature is exactly how I like it. And the crust right here, you can feel it's perfect. The salt and pepper, pan seared, is a great addition to any steak.
And James, I gotta tell you, your potatoes are nice and creamy. That subtle little addition of the nutmeg really sends them over the top. And your final topping with the fresh thyme really just pulls the whole meal together. A great job.
I think we both did great, and I think there's only one last thing we can do here, Chris.
That's right, James. What's any good meal without a great dessert? So with having said that, let's get on making that chocolate lava cake.
Molten lava cake could be considered a little bit of a scary dessert, but with like all baking, you just have to follow the measurements given to you, and it'll turn out alright. Today we're going to use this lovely mix master here to get all our ingredients together. We're using a cup of chocolate chips, semi-sweet today, teaspoon of vanilla extract, about a quarter cup granulated sugar, plus an additional tablespoon of the sugar. We're also going to do another tablespoon of flour. We're also using a lot of eggs. We're using 3 whole eggs and 3 egg yolks.
That's right. So once everything's been combined to create your batter, however many ramekins you're using, before you put the batter inside, you're going to want to make sure that they're thoroughly greased up with either butter or cooking spray. Today we're going to use cooking spray. So once they're all greased up, ready to go, that's when you can add your batter and make sure you just evenly distribute it for however many ramekins you're using. And then we're gonna top it all off with some fresh strawberries and some powdered sugar. So, before we get started doing anything, you're gonna want to preheat your oven to 425. After you've done that, we're gonna get a small to mid-sized saucepan, and we're gonna melt together our butter and chocolate chips. Here, the recipe calls for 3/4 cup of butter or 1.5 sticks. You can just go ahead and add that in there. We've been letting it sit out at room temperature to kind of soften it up just a little bit more. And then you're going to do this over a low heat. So you don't want to burn the butter or the chocolate. Just do it over a nice low heat, smooth and steady. Adding all the chocolate chips in there and just kind of stir it around until you get a nice silky smooth consistency. Alright, so taking it slow and steady here over a low heat. It's taken about 5 minutes, but we got this nice, silk, smooth consistency with the butter and the chocolate chips. Everything's all melted down real nice. And we're going to add this to our molten lava cake.
Alright, what I did already was I added the eggs and the egg yolks, the sugar, and the vanilla extract. All that's doing is sitting in this mixer for about 8 minutes, and it's going to get nice and thick and turn a pale yellow. When that's done, we're going to get back to Chris's chocolate mixer and add about 1/3 of that, and that will lead to our next step.
Now that we've got our butter and chocolate mix all melted down and nice and silky smooth, we're going to just put it into a liquid measuring cup, just so we know how much we're dealing with exactly. And you're going to probably want to get in there and scrape off the bottom. Make sure you get all the delicious chocolate and butter out of the pan. We get a great idea of what we're working with here. Alright. So, from there, looks like we've got about 1.5 cups of chocolate deliciousness. So we're going to take 1/3 of that, add it to James's egg mixture, and keep on moving on.
Alright, so we just added 1/3 of the chocolate mixture. And what I'm doing now is I'm folding it in. Get it nice and blended here. Start getting smooth. Try to get the sides with your spatula here. And the next part sounds a little tricky, but it's not. What we're going to do is we're going to take the rest of the chocolate mixture and add it in, as well as the tablespoon of the flour. So we got our spatula here so we get all that chocolate. Perfect. A tablespoon of the flour. Now something to note on flour is you never want to pack it together. You can always take a knife, even off your measurement. We got both those in there, and we're going to just do a little bit more folding. It's a nice slow process, you just got to be a little patient with it. we're just going to do this until our mixture becomes nice and blended. Once that's done, that's when we're going to divide this batter here amongst our ramekins, and then we can get them straight into the oven. Alright, well, we got these divided up right now, and I put them on a baking sheet, ready to go into the oven. What we're going to do, we're going to keep them in there for about 12 to 13 minutes. And the way we'll know that they're done is that the sides are going to be set. And after that, when you check them, the center is going to be a little bit jiggly still if you shake it. And that's exactly what we're looking for. Once they're out of the oven, we're going to put them straight to a wire rack.
13 minutes has come and gone, and our cakes are finally out of the oven. The sides look like they've set up well, and the center is still a little jiggly, a little molten, just what we're looking for. Now, after we've let it cool for 1 minute, it's on a wire rack. What we're going to do, we're going to take a little paring knife and just gently scrape the edges to kind of release it from the inside of the ramekin, so we can have a nice, even separation when we go to flip it. And now is that time. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a plate, put it right over the top. And now this is the moment of truth. The tricky part, we take the bottom of the ramekin, do a quick flip, and here we go. See how we did. It's hot still, hot. Careful. Alright, so here we go. Got a nice molten center. We dusted some powdered sugar over it and decorated a little bit with some strawberries on either side. And now, the moment of truth. Oh, look at that. Just kind of dripping out there like the ooey gooey chocolate center. Now that's what you're looking for, the chocolate lava cake. Well, James, there you have it. We did it. Chocolate lava cake, and it looks just like the one I made for my girlfriend a little while ago. So I know you said you wanted to try the strawberries with the chocolate. So why don't you give it a whirl?
Don't mind if I do. A little piece here. So that's great. There's nothing better than a chocolate covered strawberry. However, I still want to dig into this cake a little bit.
Please do.
Feel that chocolate. It's perfect, man.
Yeah?
Cake's nice and moist. Still love that heat throughout it. That you can feel it nice and warm. Perfect with the strawberries as a side. And I think a nice touch would be a good old scoop of ice cream so you get that nice hot and cold.
Absolutely.
And the ooey gooey of that inside, you know, I can really tell how much love you put into it.
Oh, thanks, James. Yeah. Well, James, we had some delicious steak today, some fantastic sweet potatoes, and an even better chocolate lava cake.
It was all very good, and I would say this is probably the perfect date night menu. I think anybody would like it, guy or girl.
Absolutely, I agree. Well, guys, thanks for watching.
Keep trying out our recipes.
And stay tuned for next week's episode.
You know, I gotta say, really enjoyed filming this one with you.
Aw, James. You know, I enjoyed it too.
Yeah, it was great. It was fun.
It was
I had a
nice.
good time.
Yeah.
It's not weird, right?